So if we look just at CO2 equivalent emissions for a kilo of cacao beans, you're looking at about, I think, 20 kilos of CO2e per kilo of cacao beans. Beef, of course, is really terrible. It's up there at 60. But if you look at cheese and, lamb, mutton products, they're between the sort of 20 to 30 mark as well, I think. So, cacao really is, and I think coffee is just fractionally lower. So it really is up there in the mixer with being as bad for the planet from the perspective of carbon emissions alone, as these things that we would, you would think, okay, cheese, the dairy industry, the meat industry, people have, I think now, or a lot of people in the world have this intuitive sense that, okay, these are really bad, they produce a lot of whatever, methane, etc. But they would never probably pick up a chocolate bar and think, yes, this produces probably almost the same as a kilo of cheese or a kilo of mutton.
I see. So cacao, it's got a high carbon footprint. Is that why? Is that the central thesis of WNWN Labs and what you're doing with your chocolates?
Yeah, so just to unpack the cacao story a little bit more. So essentially, where do those CO2 emissions come from? They're predominantly coming from land use change. So about 70 to 80% of the world's cacao supply comes from just two countries in West Africa, Cote d'Ivoire and Ghana. And there what you see is, what we have seen is deforestation on a massive, massive scale over the last 30 years. So it's that land use change, that deforestation, which is continuing, which is producing the bulk of these CO2 emissions. Now, what's also happening is as climate change kicks in and changes climates in various places around the world, these farmers are having to plant cacao crops in new places. So they're having to deforest further. So this deforestation is causing climate change, but it's also being catalyzed by climate change. So it's a double whammy. So, what we face is a near future where it becomes much more expensive to buy chocolate, and the chocolate that you buy is having a really profoundly negative effect on the planet. Added to that is the fact that slave labor and child labor are endemic in cacao supply chains. It's thought that about 80% probably of the chocolate that you would buy has passed through some form of child labor, whether it's the kind of planting or harvesting or processing. And it's about, I think, between, let's say, 1 and 2 million children work in just Ghana and the Cote d'Ivoire alone. So, these people are they're not getting paid well at all. They're at the mercy of these huge supply chains, at the one end of which are these very giant, very powerful multinational European and North American headquartered companies.
So is the desire, is the crazy dream that you'll be able to produce a sizable percentage of the world's chocolates without causing deforestation or without making use of child labour?
Yeah, so I think, again, just to reiterate, like we love chocolate, and we believe there's lots of chocolate being well made by amazing cacao farmers and chocolate producers all over the world, and we really want to support them and make sure that as many cacao producers get paid fairly, and that the way that we grow cacao globally is has the least damage possible to the world. Our vision for how we do that is that most of the chocolate that gets bought and sold now is by essentially six companies, making chocolate, 6 companies processing cacao, and our vision really is how can we supply them with a product that can mitigate these damaging effects that currently the cacao that in their supply chains is producing and having. So we want to basically create a new supply chain that they can use that will be less bad for the planet.